Hola y bienvenido a mi clase de español en el internet. Yo soy señorita Rahi. Let's get started. Today we're going to talk about conjugación de verbos de AR, or AR verb conjugation. These are normal verbs or regular, los verbos regulares. Remember that there are several irregular verbs, those irregulares, which don't follow the basic pattern that we're going to be looking at today. There is a very extensive list of AR verbs, which you can get from me if you need to. Por favor, let me know. Sí. But we'll just use these four as an example. We'll probably just go through two of them. But let's see, we have hablar, to talk or to speak. Escuchar, to listen to, if you add the a. Or, I'm sorry, escuchar is to listen. If you add the a, it's to listen to. Trabajar, to work, and mirar, to look. So let's take a look at what we need to do in order to conjugate, and what does it even mean to conjugate. If you look at the definition of to conjugate, it means to join, to unite. There's actually several definitions, but that's the most common. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Because what you're doing is, like in English, we say I am, you are, he is. We're joining the pronoun and the verb and making sense of those two things together. So that's the same thing we're going to do here. So let's get started. We'll use hablar, which I would say is the most common verb to start with, because it's very normal, and we all do something with hablar, right? We talk to each other, we speak Spanish, we speak English, whatever it is. So hablar, to talk or to speak. Let's think about our pronouns first. Yes, so I is yo. You informal, tú. These should be like second nature to you by now, yes? Hopefully. He is él. Remember that he has an accent. When you're just saying he, it's with an accent. We have she, ella, and then usted, which means anyone, you formal. Awesome. So you would address your professor, your priest, anyone like that as usted. Up here, so these are all the singular pronouns, yes? Over here, make sure I'm on my video still. Over here we have the plural, so more than one person, yes? Nosotros, meaning we. Vosotros, meaning y'all. And remember, this one is only used in Spain, see? And also remember with these two, if you're talking about a group of just girls, this would change to an A. It would be nosotras, vosotras. But for now, we'll imagine that it's all men, or that it's a group of men and women, in which case you go with the masculine. And then we have they, ellos, or ellas. Again, depending on if it's a group of boys, girls, or boys and girls. And finally, ustedes, which means y'all. Yes? Don't forget, vosotros, ustedes, both mean y'all. One's used in Spain, one's used in Latin America. All right. So then what we do is we take the stem of the verb. The stem is everything except the ending. So in this particular case, the stem of hablar is just habl, right? The H-A-B-L. We're covering up the ending, and we're using the stem, habl. Okay? The ending is either A-R, E-R, or I-R. Luckily, in Spanish, there's only 3 types of endings, and this is one of them, yes, an AR verb. So we're gonna go ahead and put our stem on all of these, because that's not gonna change. That's also called a morfema in Espanol, and that's the smallest part of the word that can mean something, that holds meaning. So that's going to come from a Latin root, something involving speech. Yes? All right, so we put it over here. We got our stem everywhere. All right, so now, oops, don't look at that. All right, so now we need to add our endings, okay? We're going to conjugate. Who's doing the action? Who's speaking? Here, I am, yo. Yo hablo. So the ending for yo in AR verbs is o. Tú hablas. The ending for tú with AR verbs is has. Trying to write it very clear. Yes? Okay, good. Él, ella, usted habla. It's just an A. Okay? Nosotros hablamos. Vosotros habláis. Notice that there is an accent on the A in this ending, not the I. If it were the I, it would be habláis, but it's habláis. See? like ice in your drink. Habláis. And then ellos, ellas, ustedes. Oops, sorry. There we go. It's a little bit better. Ellos, ellas, ustedes hablan. And there you have it. So these endings are always going to be the same for regular AR verbs. Always, always, always. For regular AR verbs. Okay? So anytime you're using mirar, yo miro. Using escuchar, yo escucho. You're using hablar, yo hablo. Whatever it is, it's a O. And that tells you that it's yo, that I am doing the talking. And that's why in Espanol, we don't have to use the pronouns a lot. Yes? Because think about in English, you're saying, we are friends. Yes? We're using the verb to be, are. They are. Y'all are. So in all three cases, the verb stays the same, right? Are. But in Spanish, the ending changes each time. So we can leave the pronoun out. And in fact, you'll hear that a lot in colloquial speech. People, they won't say yo hablo, they'll just say hablo. Because we know by conjugation that that's the ending. So o, as, a, vamos, ais, an. Take off the ending. You're left with the stem. Plug in those endings and you are good to go. See? Hablo, hablas, habla, hablamos, habláis, hablan. And these endings too are going to follow a general pattern. Like even with the irregulars, even with AR and, with ER and IR verbs, they're going to follow a general pattern. Like there's usually going to be an O involved in the yo. Almost always going to have an S at the end of the to form, except in the past tense. We'll talk about that later. Almost always there's going to be one little letter for the el, ella, usted over here. Almost always going to involve mos at the end. It's going to be something wacky with the accent for vosotros. And then almost always, and in fact, I think it is always going to involve an N for ellos, ellas, ustedes. Hopefully that helps. And ya sabemos cómo conjugar los verbos de AR. ¡Qué listo eres! Adiós.